Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Did it feel like you were walking into high school this morning with all the students walking in? Pretty cool. I'm Todd Means. I'm the chair for ICAD and the vice chair for ICR. We want to welcome you to ICAD's quarterly investor meeting this morning. It's awesome to be in person. It's been a long time, and I think my second time in my almost 2-year term that we've been in person, so it's exciting. We've got a great panel of city leaders with us this morning, but before we get into that, I know Kate has some updates from ICAD, so I'll hand it over to Kate. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Nice to see everyone live and in person. So we really appreciate you taking the time to be here this morning. And we have some great project updates from our communities, our county, the University of Iowa this morning to share with you. But before I turn it over, I just want to highlight a few things from the ICAD team. In 2021, ICAD responded to 16 RFPs for business attraction project leads. This was a record high, and thanks to Tom and Austin's work, we've worked on 5 business expansion projects, 2 new companies in the area, and the successful projects we've been part of have been responsible for $273 million in new capital investment. Liz Hubing on our team has been working closely with Heartland Forward, a national nonprofit that focuses on the Midwest to develop programs and solutions for economic development. With the support of Heartland Forward and Green State Credit Union, we launched Builders and Backers, an entrepreneurial program to reach a larger and more diverse audience. Liz is currently working with 10 builders on helping support their entrepreneurial endeavors. In partnership with ICR, we are helping to fund and champion a DEI index for the region with our partners at the EA and Business Partnership. Erin on our team has been leading this work, and on April 18th, the index will launch for all companies in the region to take a free DEI assessment. The EdTech Collaborative work with Mark's efforts is moving forward with the build-out of a Classroom of the Future at Merge, and we'll be holding a design dash for high school students and teachers on April 19th for a startup event. And then lastly, we've been working with our partners on the Better Together 2030 vision for Johnson County. So that is out for public input. We encourage you to take the survey and give us some feedback as we look to creating this vision for 2030 and moving the county forward. And so now I would like to turn it over to Geoff Fruin for updates from the city of Iowa City.
All right, thank you, Kate. Good morning, everybody. We've got a strict limit of 5 minutes each, which is really hard to do. So we're going to fly through fast. I'm going to touch on some of the bigger points in Iowa City coming up, but won't be able to touch on everything. Happy to chat after this for anybody with more questions. So let's jump right into it. Before looking forward, let's take a quick look back. Census numbers just came in. We grew just about 7,000 over the last decade. Here in Iowa City, I put a kind of a baseball steroids reference asterisk next to that because I really think we were undercounted. Unfortunately, the timing of the census count coincided with COVID and the university going to virtual classes, which really sent our population into a bit of a mix there. So I think we're truly over 75,000, but that's where officially we are. Looking back at trends over the last 10 years, averaging just shy of about 150 single-family permits per year, new construction. Multifamily was really where a lot of the growth took place in Iowa City over the last decade at about 350 units per year. And then on average, we were doing just shy of about $200 million in new building value per year. And that excludes the university. That's just the private sector and any local government projects. So a pretty robust year for growth for us in Iowa City. We expect that to continue. A couple of things that we see on the horizon, projects that are getting ready to come out of the ground this coming year. Senior housing, we'll see a couple of significant projects. The project on the left there is at the old University Club. That's the James on Melrose, about 113 units. And on the right, you're looking at the Hickory Hill Senior Living Development that got quite a bit of attention last year, and that's about another 130 plus units. Both those projects are going through final review stages now and should be ready to be out of the ground next spring. We saw kind of a dip back the last few years in student housing. I think we've all kind of experienced that student housing explosion a few years ago, and then it went quiet. Well, we think it'll be back in a big way in 2022. So a few of the top, the larger projects, I'll say, are shown on the screen there. The top left image is CA Ventures, which recently acquired the US Bank lot downtown on Linden, Washington. They're going through the application phase right now, looking at 13 stories, about 225 units. On the right there is a project by the Gilbane Company on Dubuque Street in our Riverfront Crossings District, and on the lower left, the 908 Group, which is a Florida-based company, going through the final review stages on a Prentice Street project. Both those last two projects are over 200 units of student housing, so quite a bit coming online in the next couple of years there. I want to talk about single family and some missing middle initiatives that we've had, really trying to focus on providing new opportunities, not just in the two areas that we've seen a lot of growth in over the past year, or the past decade, which is single family and kind of the large multifamily, really trying to hit that sweet spot. So we're adjusting some codes to try to promote more of the duplex, triplex, smaller apartment options in neighborhoods throughout Iowa City. We're also taking we're putting a lot of attention to developing the infrastructure for the future growth in Iowa City. So as we look to the area west of Iowa City, south of Railroad Road, we've got a large sewer extension that will be going under 218. That sewer project is under design and working on annexation and comp plan issues to open up that area. And we continue to see really strong interest in both the east side and west side for residential growth. We think the south will follow as well. I didn't mention a lot. We still have a couple of large projects downtown, Riverfront Crossings, mixed use, that aren't quite as far along, but could certainly pop in the next year. So continued strong interest in that downtown and Riverfront Crossings, not only on student housing, but commercial retail and residential as well. Really proud of some new grants and commercial initiatives that we have either adopted or are moving forward on. We did create a Highway 1-6 revitalization plan, and that area is now in a tax abatement, so redevelopment along the Highway 1 and 6 corridor is eligible for tax abatement through the city now. We launched our first commercial energy efficiency grant program. We just got done awarding 8 industrial grants, and those will be estimated to save about $1.3 million annually for those 8 companies that participated in those grants. And that grant program has now been extended to the downtown and Riverfront Crossings area. Just launched a targeted small business program, and also are expecting to invest make a multi-million-dollar investment in our BIPOC and underserved business community in 22. So those efforts are kind of under planning stages right now, but we expect to be focusing quite a bit on that in the coming year. A couple of major infrastructure projects, pushing American Legion Road to completion. First and Scott will get a roundabout this year. That's the entrance to ACT, if you're trying to picture that. We have a lot of road projects. You'll see a lot more orange cones on the street again. A few of the highlights, Rochester, Benton, Fairchild, Railroad Road, are a few of the bigger ones that'll get improved. And I'm pushing my 5 minutes here, so I'm going to just let you read the rest of that slide. But a lot of parks investments coming up, and also some major facility improvements for the city as well with our transit and public works campus expansion out there. So I went a little bit over, about 30 seconds over, but I'm going to turn it over to Kelly, who's going to tell you about all the good things in Coralville.
Thank you, Geoff. This coming year is going to be spent a lot on infrastructure within Coralville. We have several major projects that we're working on for our water system. We're working on supply, and we'll be doing some new wells and rehabbing some existing wells. For wastewater, we're going to be spending a lot of time in western Coralville. We've got some major projects to build out in that area that will be opening up that what we call our western area that is a little over 1,800 acres. That will be starting to see some additional development in that area. One of the other projects that will be coming this this fall is the First Avenue Interstate 80 interchange. So that will be completely redone. It's a little over a $40 million project that we're partnering with the Department of Transportation on, Iowa DOT. We received a little over a $20 million grant from the federal government for the city's share of that. The work will be bid in August. The DOT told us the other day that they will actually, on the schedule, we have the first bridge being torn down this fall. So for the next a little over a year, there will be only one lane in each direction over Interstate 80. So that will create a little congestion, but when it's all completed, we'll be having a diverging diamond at that location. So you'll be going on the opposite side of the road when you go over the interstate, and then you'll cut back. That will increase capacity significantly. And this design was at the request of the DOT. So one of the things that we're really excited about is the additional pedestrian options. We will have bridges we'll have tunnels underneath the interstate that will allow pedestrians and bikers to have an easier time flowing from north to south. And so that will also allow us to connect into the Iowa River Trail system, and so you'll be able to make an easy connection there as well. Like Iowa City, we have several housing projects that are either under the way or started, and one is in Bridgewater. This is just immediately north of Interstate 80 off of First Avenue, behind the Firefighters Memorial area. They're building single family and duplexes in that area, but one of the buildings that will be completed this spring is Elevate. It's a new large multifamily project. They will be both selling and renting units in the building. This is the first of 3 buildings that they will be completing, and so they will be selling and occupying yet this spring. So we're excited to have that completed. Forever Green Heights is directly south of Liberty High School, and this is moving a lot faster than originally planned. They have 1,000 housing units planned. Their intent is to build it over 4 years. So that will be a big change in that neighborhood. One of the things that will be added in that area will be a roundabout on Dubuque Street and a roundabout on North Liberty Road and Forever Green Road. So the one at North Liberty Road will be built yet this year, and the one on Dubuque Street will be coming in the next 2 years. So they have had so much success in original marketing of the product that they have decided to cut down to 4 years their intent to get this built. The only other thing that I'll mention is that we are also partnering with Clear Creek School District on a new school in western Coralville and Oakdale, just west of Coral Ridge Avenue. That vote will come up on March 1st. That will be a really major focal point for us in that western area and provide a lot of neighborhood services. We're really excited to partner with them on that project, and that would open in 2024 if the bond issue passes. And with that, I'll pass it on to Ryan.
Thank you, Kelly. Good morning, everyone. I never know what to expect when Kelly's going to introduce me, so I appreciate the professionalism this morning, Kelly. Okay, a couple projects happening in North Liberty. If you've driven Rancho Way in the last year, you no doubt have experienced the chaos that is Phase 5 of Rancho Way. We ended up having to close this road entirely and detour traffic, which caused a little bit of a mess. But we got through it. It's open now. And the reason we had to close it is because we're constructing an underpass, a pedestrian underpass. This is an aerial of what that underpass will look like. This is just north of what is the City Hall entrance. We're pretty excited about this particular piece of the project because obviously of the connectivity, but as you can see here, It's pretty beautiful. We're excited to showcase this, and you can see we're trying to get some design into this. We have a bridge on further north on Rancho that has some backlighting, and so we'll have that here as well. This project starts at Zeller Street, goes down to Herky Drive, and really will replicate what we have to the north. So the 4 lanes, the great pedestrian access, some beautification, biocells, stormwater improvements. So pretty exciting project for us. We started improvements on Rancho Way in 2010, I think, or not, 2009 or 10. Our last project will be in 2025, so it's been quite the drive. It's taken so long just because of the federal money we're using for this project, but we can see the light at the end of the tunnel at this point. The next project that we have teed up is Dubuque Street, and can you see my marker up there? So this is existing Dubuque Street, and if you can see my little hand here, this is the bike shop right now. Heinz Ice Cream is right here, over this way. Can you all see that? Or this Penn Meadows Park, and I'm sure you all know that are familiar with Reds, which is in this corner. And then the impetus for this project is this. I'm trying to think of a good word to explain this goofy intersection. It's dangerous. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So take a look at this, and then this is what it will be. And you can see that the big changes here at Dubuque Street will no longer go straight through here. We're actually going to route people up Front Street, and we'll have them use the roundabout at Front and Penn. It's a much better access than the intersection at Dubuque and Penn. The other big change here that you can see is that we are dead-ending Front Street, and we'll be requiring people to use an intersection and take a right turn to access Dubuque. Again, a number of one of the themes you might see that you will see in our project is pedestrian access and gathering spaces. And so this is in front of the bike shop, where we're planning to make some pedestrian improvements. And then you'll see here, this is in front of Heinz Ice Cream, again, another plaza area where folks can hang out. And, this is a result of a visioning project we completed a couple years ago. And really the message that was delivered to us is we need to work on our identity, and we need to work on offering gathering spaces for the community. And so much like you saw with the Rancho Way Tunnel, we're trying to create some identity there. Same thing here, as well as for places for people to hang out. The next project I'll touch on, you've probably heard about in the news here recently, and that is our new City Hall. And it fits in very nicely with the new Dubuque Street project, because it's going to be right in that area. And a couple years ago, more than a couple years ago, probably better than a decade ago, the City Council came up with a vision of a civic campus. We started that process by constructing a new police department, and now the last phase of that is a new City Hall. And this, while this video is running, oh man, this was really the coolest part of my presentation. Looks like it's not going to go. Okay, well, this is on our website if anyone cares to take a look at it. But it was going to just give you an aerial of what we're trying to do here in establishing the civic campus. This particular building is 17,000 square feet. It will house the city council chambers, obviously. It will house 6 departments, offices for those 6 departments, and then a community room. In addition, and one of the pieces, again, that we're really excited about is an events plaza. And if you can see my arrow here, this section of the building is going to be a community room. These doors and windows will open up so that we can have an indoor-outdoor events in this facility. So this project will go out for bid in September. It'll be about a year and a half probably of construction. Our drop dead date to get in there is June of '24. That's when our lease expires on the current city hall. So I have a couple other slides, but I believe my 5 minutes are up. So I will now turn it over to Cami, the city administrator in Solon.
Thank you, Ryan. Good morning. I'm Cami Rasmussen from the city of Solon. I'm the city administrator there, and there's just a lot of good things going on in Solon. Hope everyone's had a chance to get up in the northern part of Johnson County and see all that's happening there. Solon's slogan is a place to put down roots. Solon, and this is so true because Solon is really growing. 73% growth in the 2010 census and 48% growth in the 2020 census, with a population of just over 3,000. Solon Main Street is really an Iowa success story. In 2012, we did a Main Street revitalization that incorporated brick pavers, lamp posts, trees, custom railings, and other features. Our goal was to create a welcoming and vibrant Main Street that our community would be proud of. In 2013-14, Big Grove opened, and it's been its own Iowa success story. We are so glad to be part of their story, and we are so glad that they can call Solon home. This slide showcases two projects by the same development group, one on each end of Solon Main Street. The brownstones on Main are 3 new residential brownstones on the east end of Main Street, and then on the west end is the 121 on Main project, and that's right next door to Big Grove Brewery. It's a mixed-use 2-story with 8 condos and 5 commercial units. Also new to Solon is a new mixed-use building with upper residential and 2 commercial retail units that are the home of the Eat Shop Bakery, which is amazing, and Briar Ridge Bikes, and both opened last year. This project is the North Market Square project, and that's right on the corner of Highway 1 and Main Street. It's 2 phases. The first phase is 2 mixed-use buildings, which are under construction now. And then phase 2 is the restoration of an auto garage, and the plan is to have a restaurant or a brewery type business in that location. So I'm excited about that. Much of my focus so far has been on new construction, so now I'm going to talk a little bit about the redevelopment of some of the existing buildings on Main Street, starting with Red Vespa. Known for their famous stone-fired pizza, this picture also highlights the sidewalk cafe policy that the City of Solon City Council adopted a few years ago. Next, the Brass Fountain opened last summer on Solon Main Street, and it features an old-fashioned soda fountain from Chicago. It offers that nostalgia, classic burger, fries, and shake. And really, they've done a great job with the facade of that building, and it's been a great addition. This is the St. Mary's Auditorium that was built in 1915 as a social and literary club. The church and community used it for activities until 2005. And then it was sold to private developers who are in the process of revitalizing this building, which will soon be open. And it consists of commercial on the ground floor, a hotel on the middle floor, and residential apartments on the top floor. This building was built in 1895 and was purchased last year. The new owner removed the cement board from the front, restored the window frontage, and its new tenant is Bluebird Cafe. It's to be open in a few weeks. Solon is well known for its trails, so I must mention the Solon Recreation and Nature Area. This is a 57-acre park that we share with Solon Schools, and it also serves as the trailhead for the Hoover Trail and the North Shore Trail of Lake McBride. In addition, in that area, it's home to a new splash pad that also has a restroom shelter, which is, I'm sure everybody off the trail appreciates having that. And this opened last summer. It was a project funded with many local contributions, as well as support from Johnson County and an Enhance Iowa CAD grant. The splash pad is over 6,000 square feet, and it uses a recycled water system. Because of our location to Lake McBride, we have to protect the Lake McBride watershed. We've had 2 annexations in the last year, and this will offer some new housing options in Solon. Trail Ridge Estates is development along Highway 382, and it offers 291 housing units, including single-family duplex, threeplex units, with many amenities, including open spaces, playgrounds, ponds, and dog park. This is a map of Solon. The blue square outlines the Trail Ridge Estates area, and that's on the way to Lake McBride on Highway 382. And then the red, it's fairly small there on the east side, is another recent annexation, and this is a planned area development adjacent to Saddleback Golf Course to begin in the spring. It includes 36 single-family styled homes geared toward retirees who like to golf. And I should mention that Solon is a golf cart community. And last, I would like to highlight this morning is the new Solon Firehouse. It's currently under construction on Highway 1 behind the Dairy Queen. The Solon Tri-Township Fire District is the largest in the state, covering 112 square miles, and it is served by 35 volunteer firefighters. The new station is well overdue due to the growth in Solon and surrounding areas, and this project has received tremendous support, and the community is so thankful for that. That's all I have. Thank you very much. I'd like to introduce Doug Boldt, City Administrator for Tiffin.
Thank you, Cami. It's no secret that Tiffin has had a good run for about the last 10 years. And through our goal-setting session and our budget works sessions this year, I thought that this might be a good year to take a step back, regroup a little bit. I kind of said to the City Council that might be a good idea, and let's catch our breath a little bit, and they laughed at me. So we're going to continue to move forward. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the projects and stuff that we have coming up here. So this is our original town project. I'd like to show this slide because this is essentially what Tiffin was for a long time, up until about 2000, well, really until about 1990. And right now, Tiffin is 10 times the size of this slide right here. So we are in phase 2 of a complete urbanization of the original town, with phase 3 going to start in 2023. Another big project we have coming is the expansion of North Park Road, which is in front of the 2 new schools on the east side. That will go from 2 lanes to 4 lanes down to the roundabout that's at Highway 6. I've got a public works background, and another really kind of neat thing for me to be a part of is we have a new public works facility that will start construction next week. Woodruff Construction is the general on that. And again, it's on the south edge of the original town. It's kind of been a staple there, so we're going to maintain that area and, again, build a building that's, again, about 7 times the size of our current facility to hopefully set the department up for the next, 10 to hopefully 20 years in the future. A couple of developments that we have going on out by Interstate 80 is the I-80 Commerce Park. This is a commercial and multifamily development. There's 62 shovel-ready acres of ground here, that, again, right off of Interstate 80, that is, again, ready to be developed. Hunt Club is currently what is north of Village Drive there, that's building multifamily apartments and condos to this point. And again, further to the east and south of Village Drive is the 62 acres that are shovel ready. Fairway opened their doors a couple years ago, and the lots around that and the area to the north are also both ready to go. The lot to the south of Fairway there has been sold, and there's some things that are happening to the east of that connect to Highway 6 and an new entrance into our city park. And then just north of Fairway, there's about 52 acres there that's currently in planning and zoning right now for a R1, R2, and R4 residential development. This is our big announcement. With the help of ICAD, Topgolf, Top Tracer announced they were coming to Tiffin last year. They've had a little bit of delay within their process, I guess you could say. The rendering of their building has gone through about 3 different revisions, and the area has been rezoned. We've got a big meeting coming up here in March to kind of kick this thing off. I get asked a lot, what's the difference between Topgolf and Top Tracer? If I asked that question to any of you, would you know? Really? Good. So, as I understand it, Topgolf, and they're both owned by Callaway. Callaway owns both. Top Tracer kind of came out of Topgolf as the technology changed. But Topgolf, you hit a ball where the technology is in the ball. If you've ever done that, you notice it's a little different. You hit the ball, it doesn't go quite as far, there's a little bit different feel to it. Top Tracer is the technology is in a laser field, so to speak, cameras that are in the green area here, but you hit a real ball. And so you shoot your ball out into, again, a laser field, and then that information comes back to you on the screens that they have. And if you've watched any of the PGA Tour and whatnot, they say that when they review a shot, they say something to the effect of, let's look at our Top Tracer shot technology powered by Topgolf. So that is, that's big for us, obviously, big for the area, and we're really excited about that coming. The last thing here is this is our big picture dream, I guess you could say. This was the last thing that we worked on right before COVID hit. We had a joint meeting with our school board and city council like March 7th. And we were probably within 60 days of a full-on capital campaign to really kick this project off. And then that next weekend is when basically all hell broke loose, and we've had to shelve this project ever since, but it's still on our long-range plan. We still talk about it briefly, but until we feel that the temperature is right to really put on a full-on capital campaign, this is probably where the project is going to sit. But we're hopeful that we can get this thing moving within the next probably 3 to 5 years would be aggressive, but hopeful. So that's all I've got. I'm going to hand it over to Ray Forsythe, who's the Special Projects Manager with Johnson County.
Thank you, and good morning, everybody. I am probably a new face to all of you. I started my work at Johnson County last April in a brand new position called the Special Projects Manager. I retired after a 30-year career in planning, economic development, and city administration, and was looking for a fun job, and this one came up. So the Special Projects Manager is responsible for all the vertical construction that happens at the county. So we build a lot of roads and bridges and trails and conservation projects, but my responsibility is vertical construction, so remodeling of the county facilities. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about a new project that we're working on. but I love to see all the work that these guys are doing because my background in economic development, and especially now that I work for Johnson County, their success is our success because every community that you're hearing from today is within Johnson County. So we're really excited to be able to be at the table with these guys today and all of you. The first project I'm going to talk about is the Johnson County campus. So where our administrative offices, our health and human services, and our medical examiner and ambulance facilities are aging, they don't meet ADA standards, and we're out of space. So we hired OPN to do a master plan study for us with the goal of optimizing space, consolidating departments, anticipating growth, enhance circulation, and then develop a master plan for the county campus. And then COVID hit. So right after the master plan was done, we kind of went on hiatus. And now that I'm on staff, we're looking at starting, right after I started last year, incorporating more ADA recommendations, responding to COVID, and then memorializing our new county eponym, Lulu Merle Johnson, and then incorporating the City of Iowa City's Riverfront Crossing District, which we're right in the heart of. So the goals are safety, wellness, equality, the human experience, and flexibility and functionality. These are kind of some renderings. We're looking at every inch of all of our property there on Dubuque Street and Benton, and looking at ways to make it more efficient, responding to the COVID pandemic. We were essential workers, so the Treasury, where you pay, get your driver or your license plates, pay your taxes, we were open every single day during the pandemic. So we have to figure out a way that we can continue to operate under pandemic situations and still meet the safety requirements of our employees. We also did a big study by the WT group looking at all of our ADA requirements, so we're incorporating those into our property. Again, this past year, Johnson County changed our eponym to Lulu Merle Johnson, and we're looking for a way to memorialize not only the history of Lulu Merle Johnson, but also Black Americans in Iowa City, and especially surrounding the campus. We're looking at ways to improve wayfinding and entrances and the public experience into our properties. And then the most exciting part of this is the city bought 821 South Clinton Street, which is right across the street from the Health and Human Services, right in the heart of the Riverfront Crossings Master Plan. And we're looking at building a 13-story building, bringing in partners to create affordable housing, daycare, municipal and other offices, and creating a kind of a new form of government for Johnson County and responding to the issues that we see in Johnson County, especially the daycare and affordable housing. We're also looking at, as part of the Riverfront plan, is landscaping and wayfinding, signage, creating more of a park-like atmosphere on some of the open space. And that's a really exciting project. We are just wrapping up the conceptual design. It's a $15 million project that the Board of Supervisors is really excited about doing. Hopefully take place over 3 years. The second project that I'm here to talk about is the Johnson County Courthouse. This building was built in 1901, was put on the National Register in 1974. So it is where the clerk of court, so if you get a speeding ticket and you need to go pay, you typically go there. Or if you get yourself in trouble, you have to go to court, that's where it is. Over the years, there's been several renovations to the building where they did not really respect the historic nature of the building. So my goal, because of my background in historic preservation, is to bring that building back, especially on the interior, to what it was in 1901 as much as possible. So our first phase is the clerk of court. That project is out for bid right now. It's about a $900,000 project, and we will start to restore some of the first floor areas of that property. The Johnson County Historic Poor Farm is located within the city of Iowa City. This year we're wrapping up a couple of projects. The South Shed, or cultivation station, is an educational center, also has cultivation workspace for our tenant farmers, and then it's a storm shelter. And if anybody's ever been out there, I think the wind is always at 30 miles an hour plus, so the storm shelter is a good addition. And then also we improved the parking and circulation. by adding an enhanced roadway, parking spaces, paved ADA spaces, and then we are installing event parking utilizing permeable paving. And then in 2022-23, we're looking at building a commercial kitchen, primarily for the tenants of the farm, but then also opening it up to the public, as well as a wellness trail, which is a trail designed for individuals with disabilities, growers and local foodies, history enthusiasts, immigrants, children, and historic health practitioners, and it will be above ADA standards. So it's a really exciting project that we just are in the process of signing a contract with the design firm to do that. And then one of the big things that I'm working on is the American Rescue Plan Act. Johnson County was allocated $29,357,173, and I'm part of the ARPA leadership team, which is working on investing that money for Johnson County. The goal of the county is to stabilize, strategize, and organize. We have gone through the preliminary allocation of the funding, and as you can see, the biggest investments are in negative economic impacts, services to disproportionately impacted communities, and infrastructure, broadband, water, and sewer. So we're collaborating with the City of Iowa City where we can, and looking for other partners for some of the other projects. And I'm not going to go through all these, but these projects are starting in 22, $5.6 million. A lot of the really exciting things is that we are investing in infrastructure. We're creating grant programs for nonprofits, for minority-owned businesses, but also the arts community. So look for those projects to come out where the county will partner with these entities so that we can improve the livelihood of our small businesses. And then we have projects starting in fiscal year 23, which is July, almost $6 million. Again, more investment into the community throughout the county, more minority-owned business funding, infrastructure and capital needs for local nonprofits, and capital needs for local arts organizations. A lot of funding going into daycare and other services for people impacted. And this is our first kind of PR that's gone out. We're investing $3.4 million into Kent Park to enhance the water quality of Lake McBride. So exciting times for the county, exciting to be here. This is the first time I think that the county's been involved in economic development in the county. We just finished an economic development plan and are hiring economic development staff. And the county board of supervisors is excited to partner with our communities and offering our staff for technical assistance where needed. So with that, I can answer any questions or pass it on. I think we have a video coming up.
Hello, I'm Lehnertz, Senior Vice President for Finance and Operations and University Architecture at the University of Iowa. Sorry I can't be with you today, but I do want to thank you for this chance for us to give you a look at the University of Iowa campus and some of the projects we're excited about, and a longer look at some of the projects we'll be planning toward over the next decade. As you may have heard in the news, we have presented to our Board of Regents a 10-year plan of projects that we're targeting both on the main campus and the University of Iowa Hospitals and Clinics campus. And we thought we want to show some of those as well. So let me start PowerPoint for us, and we'll share it from here. Again, thanks for having us with me today. And I apologize for it being remotely, but hopefully this will give you a sense for some of the things we're excited about. I want to start right away with a project we look forward to, and its dedication happening in August 2022 as the students arrive and come back to campus for the fall semester. We look at this as that final piece of our 2008 flood recovery project, and an amazing project funded fully over half, in fact, of the project budget funded by donors. So a very proud project for us, and you can see in the inset our great director, Lauren Lessing. As we continue to the next project, nonfiction writing, #1 program in the country, and garnering not only attention, but donor attention. and some generous donors have allowed for us to advance a project on an important site for us, part of the literary neighborhood we have near Clinton Street, across the street from the Writer's Workshop, and also, as you can see by the map, across the street from the President's residence. Here you see renderings from Newman Munson Architects, and to let you know their partner, McComas Lucina, will start their work this spring on that project. Another exciting project on the other side of the river, another one that garnered not only attention but great generosity from our donors, is the Hawkeye Wrestling Facility and the Carver Circle fundraising effort that will allow us to go forward at the end of this month for approval of the budget and a spring bidding and starting construction right after that. So again, a great project with great progress in our wrestling program, of course, defending national champions, and now starting the women's program with Coach Chung. So a lot of excitement about the program and about this building. To the Finkbein Golf Course, and we've been excited about Finkbein, the development of the Nagel Family Clubhouse as well, and then this project, which will begin this spring. Third-party development team, including Build to Suit, who will be leading the construction effort on a condominium aimed at a 55-plus active living environment directly across the street from Finkbein Golf Course on the former athletic club and university club site. So reactivating that site to the benefit of the community and the university. And then moving to the north, another third-party project we're working on. Our Board of Regents have pushed us to evaluate the sites that are not core to university processes and missions. And this is an example of on the former band practice field, really unused by the university over the last 7 years since we moved that field to and that our entire operation for band practice to the Hawkeye campus. We will be taking proposals from developers within the first half of this year. And we're proud in doing this project to work with the Manville Heights neighborhood, a very important neighborhood as part of our community. We have 3 Manville Heights representative neighbors on our planning team and helping to draft the RFP for the prospective developers so that we make sure that the development is harmonious with the neighborhood, adds to the neighborhood feel, but is also a benefit to the University of Iowa in the long term. Then we look ahead to the work that we're going to be shaping what we do over the next decade. We've emphasized to the regions, to our legislature, and others the notion of renewal and right-sizing of our campus. We have almost 250 buildings on campus, average age about 46 years. So the responsibilities and care for these buildings and making sure they remain modern and working for the decades and generations to come is very important. And this is at the top of our list on this front. The number 1 priority, listed number 1 on this page, is McLean Hall, the first of 3 modernization projects where we're hoping to and will partner with the state of Iowa with appropriated dollars to move forward. And as the state appropriates those dollars, we will advance McLean Hall, followed by Jessup, and then McBride Hall in the future years. And then 4 big projects for us, 4 big buildings for us that we want to highlight from our 10-year plan. First, the University Capitol Center. It's been an important part of our campus, especially since the 2008 flood when the Iowa Memorial Union was closed for several years. The mall became a central space for many of our students and has continued to be so. We've continued to modernize portions of it that we own for those needs. We are roughly a 60 to 65% owner in the mall today and have had a great partnership with the Hodge Group as part of the arrangement for purchasing some of the mall some 13, 14 years ago. We had the rights to purchase the entire mall in the 2024-2025 range. And David Keft on our campus working with the Hodge Group will continue to develop this. The site will be more and more important in the future. It's directly across the street from the center of our campus in the Penncrest. And we look at continuing retail spaces, which are good for the students, but also good for the community in the downtown area. Moving on, the main library, our largest building on the campus, a 1951 building. Very important building, partially modernized, needs many, many more dollars and projects to modernize it. And it will take some time, and over time we will do so, but a concerted effort over the next decade to renew that building. And the Iowa Memorial Union, same story. It was a building recovered after 2008 in the flood, but its systems and its layouts for today's needs for students is short of where it should be. We'll be working with with student life and with our students to modernize that building in the years to come. And then finally on this page, the Tiffin College of Business. Of all of our colleges, this is one that does have a dedicated need for growth in square footage through the master planning we've done. The building you can see, the Papa John Business Building was built in 1993. Since that time, the College of Business has doubled in its size, programs, and faculty and staff, and students, and it is time for them to grow as well. So we'll be working with our dean, Amy, to develop donor interest in advancing in addition to that complex in the years to come. And then to the Health Science Campus in UIHC. Big projects, big ideas and needs, both for the community, for our students who learn there, as well as for the entire state and care of those in our state. This is a 10-year look ahead. It looks like a lot of work, and it is a lot of work, but it will be timed over a 10-year period as planned. And I'll go through these first. A new tower. This will be an inpatient tower to address the overcrowding in the hospital. You can see it will be a northern bookend to the Stead Family Children's Hospital. New research space and the replacement of the aging medical education building, which was the psych ward as part of the original hospital complex. And then a new look at the Fieldhouse site for an ambulatory clinics facility that will serve UIHC and the patients coming to UIHC. Many enabling projects that include new parking, include academic space, and also recreation space that would be tied to the eventual impacts to the field house. We're advancing currently the inpatient tower project, engaging architects, working with donors. That is a project that will be led by generous donors, and we'll be talking about that, highlighting that as we move forward. The enabling projects that will allow that to happen include the parking replacement, utilities, the water tower that sits between UIHC and Kinnick Stadium, and the academic space, #1 rated Wendell Johnson Speech and Hearing, the relocation of that building from the footprint of the tower to the site UIHC identified as B on the site plan. So a lot of work to happen, a lot of coordination both here and on the main campus, but certainly something we are very excited about as we move forward. We look forward to it, and we look forward to partnering with you and keeping you up to date in these developments. Again, thank you for the time for me to share these projects with you, and thank you to ICAD for all you do for the community, for the university, and for all of us attending today. Thank you very much. I hope to see you next time. Take care.
Well, thanks to Rod, and I'll speak for him to welcome Kathryn Kunert from MidAmerican Energy up to the stage.
Great. Can you hear me if I don't use the microphone? I do have a very loud voice, until my brain. So thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me talk a little bit about MidAmerican Energy as your utility partner. For those of you who don't know me, I am Kathryn Kunert. I am Vice President of Economic Connections and Integration. I made up my title. I didn't want people to assume that they would know what I do, which has actually worked out quite well for me. For the most part, in the sense that it gives me an opportunity to really get in and dive in and work with our partners. And every single one of you are our partners up here as our communities. All of you are our partners as our customers, and for that we thank you. And we know the vital role that we play as being your utility partner. I get to wear many, many hats, and probably some of my most favorite hats obviously are the economic development, community relations, and the ability to affect the growth and sustainability of our customers, particularly on the business side and above. So today, what I thought I'd talk about when Kate called me to get involved, and by the way, we are a founding partner of ICAD too, which we're very proud of, to show a little bit of our roots here in Iowa City. We've obviously been the long-term provider of gas, natural gas and electricity here. But I picked Wind Prime, and that's our latest announcement that really ties into where we're going with the sustainability. Because if you noticed, when they talked about their project up here, there were a lot of threads that connected back to MidAmerican Energy, right? You heard about lighting, you heard about energy efficiency, you heard about placemaking, you heard about utilities. We touch literally all of those things. And so we know the important role that a utility partner plays, right? And MidAmerican has been a leader in affecting, I think, the sustainability of our businesses and our community, which helps with that thriving and growing ability for all of our customers and our communities. So when we launched Wind Prime and we announced it here last month, we really tied it into Destination Net Zero because we know that it's super important to make sure that we've got it figured out, and we need to come together and work together to make sure, though, that we have that sustainability in front of us. So MidAmerican has been on this path, and we started it when we started building our wind, I would say back very effectively. In 2004, we changed some legislation that really allowed for us to start building and owning wind. And so we have our Green Advantage program. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. But what Green Advantage allows for you to do is take advantage as our customer of the renewable assets that we are building on your behalf. So right now we're at 83.6%. We're going to have a new number for 2022. We're going to be up to about 88%. And what that allows for you to do is if you're making toothbrushes or if you're making donuts or coffee, or you're helping the sick and making sure that they have strong utilities, you can say all of that has been produced by 83.6 renewable energy. So that's something you can claim. That helps you get down the road already with your sustainability goals at no net cost. It's just by being our customer in our service territory. So that's a big value add that we like to talk about by bringing that competitive and economic advantage to each and every single one of you. And so we're well on our way to 100%. We know that Wind Prime will help us get there, but we know we're also on that competitive leading edge. And so when we're competing for new businesses and new opportunities, or for helping existing businesses grow here to make sure that the footprint expands here, and utilities are one or two of the top reasons people invest or stay in a community with the footprint that they have. And so we know we have that important role. And then the next thing, obviously, in order to get to our net zero destination is we have to have the infrastructure to make sure that we can keep the grid strong, secure, and safe. And then additionally, we know that you can't just do it on renewables alone. The sun's not shining, many days the wind's not blowing. Not too often in Iowa, it doesn't feel like anymore. Talked about the wind blowing, boy is it blowing. I came over in it this morning and I was glad that coming in it wasn't as icy as when I actually landed here. So with that being said, we know that we have to continue to look at new technologies and innovations to be able to really be successful to getting onto our net zero destination. But we have this commitment to you. And at MidAmerican Energy, we talk a lot about balanced outcomes, right? And we know that everybody needs utilities, absolutely everybody. It's not something that people can come or go with. It's absolutely a part of everybody's existence. And so we know that the reliability and the affordability and the sustainability with our renewables really tie into that destination net zero. We talk about the three-legged stool, the way it affects the balanced outcomes, so that everybody can afford their utilities and that the reliability is there and that the renewables are there. But without one of those legs of the stool, it definitely tilts, right? So if we don't maintain that three-legged stool, we are affecting somebody negatively, right? And so that's why, if you look at what's next to the stool, we talk about it's all of the above. You cannot have one without the other. And we know that renewables isn't the entire answer. So we have to look at other opportunities, and MidAmerican has already been investing and looking at these opportunities, and we will continue to do so. We still don't have battery storage. That's really the golden egg, right? When we can do battery storage, that'll be huge, because then when the sun's not shining, but we've stored up in a battery, to be able to use that battery energy, just like you do with a flashlight or something else, then you have the ability to move the needle really, really quickly. So that's why we're digging into that. We obviously have talked about carbon sequestration. We've been actively involved in the governor's task force. We're well down the road with our EVs. We have a very strong EV program. Very excited to partner with Iowa City and their EV buses. We've done that both in the Quad Cities and Des Moines as well, so we know the importance of that. hydrogen's out there, hydro's out there, and then obviously we have to look at nuclear because we know we are a manufacturing egg-based economy. And you still have to have that baseload generation available for them 24/7, because that's what people are operating at, whether it's your home, your school, or your industries. They need energy 24/7, and until you have that technology, you have to have baseload generation. So that's our commitment to you. That's where we're going and how we're going to get there with maintaining that balance. So I talked a little bit about Green Advantage. I just wanted to make sure that you understood the value proposition of that to you, that you all get to claim that, whether you're a residential customer, a small commercial, or a large industrial, or anywhere in between. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about Wind Prime. Wind Prime is kind of creative in the sense that we typically name so we haven't gotten too far off the box, but we typically name our projects Wind 1, 2, 3, 4. We are a utility, right? So we're not super creative. So Wind Prime is our 13th project. Yes, 13 is a prime number, obviously, but we also thought, you know, it's prime time to get this project done, right? There's a lot of things that are going correctly for us to capitalize on this opportunity. So we love to say that we do economic development, and we do economic development, right? We support it through our work as a company, but we also, as a company, do economic development, and part of economic development is coming through our wind projects. So this last project that we announced is a $3.9 billion investment. So we're going to add more renewables, mostly wind, because that's what is most abundant here, and it helps with the economics. Remember that three-legged stool, we have to have that balanced outcome. So, but we also are looking at putting in some additional solar as well. And it does create jobs, from the construction side to the ongoing long-term jobs as well. The wind industry is the fastest growing industry. I think if you look at Kirkwood, I think they have a wind technician career path now. So there's lots of different things that are tied that have really been bringing value to our state and as a whole the economy. So that it will also create those permanent jobs as well. And then obviously there's a lot of long-term benefits to our communities too, the tax dollars that go back into that, not only to the landowners but to the cities and schools and the counties where they are landing right now. So our intent is to have these projects completed and available that for us for the to bring online late 24 and then in 25. And with that then we will be at 100%. So that Green Advantage number will be at 100%. And if you think about it, a lot of states or locations have, you know, 30% by 2030, 40% by 2040, 50% by 2050, right? And the thing that I too have to mention is many folks with those goals, they don't have a way to get there. They don't have a path, they just threw it out there. That's not something MidAmerican's going to do. We will make sure that we have a pathway forward in order to get there. That's really, really important to us. If we're going to say something, that we can stand behind it, deliver on it, and do it. So Wind Prime will get us there. I think the other cool thing about this is the fact that the carbon intensity, because of all our renewable developments and generation, has really reduced our carbon footprint already by 86%. And then I just had to bring this up because it really is that economic advantage, right? We talked about that utilities are a driver for economic development, the cost of utilities. And MidAmerican has been able to do all of these things by keeping, and still, it's that three-legged stool I keep going back to, with keeping our rates the 11th lowest in the country. That's huge. So when you throw in renewables and you throw in the 11th lowest rates, it is that competitive economic advantage that we bring to the table as your utility partner. In addition to all the other programming that we bring, we talked about energy efficiency, we talked about supporting the electric vehicle infrastructure build out. We have a very strong investment in our community through our CARES program, which is our corporate citizenship program. So there's many things that we do beyond the pipes and wires which are obviously critically important to all of you, but we also know that the utility plays a larger role in the communities that we serve. So with that, I will stop there. And again, thank you for allowing me to be here. Thank you for being our partner, and thank you for being our customer.
Thank you, Kathryn. Thanks to everyone this morning. You know, we're privy to meeting with these folks pretty regularly, and as we were talking as a team, being able to see it all at once is really something. And so I want to give an opportunity for you to ask me questions. We have a few minutes here. I think there's a lot of exciting things on the horizon, and coming out of this time, we also all need a little bit of hope and excitement for what's coming. So hopefully you felt that this morning. But any questions for any of these leaders, and any comments that you want to share? Yeah.
Kathryn?
Yes.
I just wanted to ask you something about the wind industry right now, wind energy that is. Have the specifications changed on the equipment? I know Newton recently closed. There was a company that was building blades that closed down. And I think the one down in Fort Madison had downsized. And that have this, maybe it's not really your area, but I just wonder if the specifications on the actual equipment, the blades, had changed that weren't that.
No, it's really not about the specifications on the equipment. It's actually about the orders, the projects that are coming online,
Okay.
and how fast those projects are coming online.
Okay.
Believe it or not, and you've heard it, right? There is some resistance now to even building wind. There's some NIMBY going on, which we can appreciate, right? I mean, we understand that, right? So we work with our landowners. We don't use eminent domain. So there's certain things around the location that's pushing back on development, and there's also some things around, you know, the federal level. These wind developments are using production tax credits, and so we've taken great advantage of that. Some people like to criticize us for that, but if they're available, why not bring them home? Well, you know, why not grab your tax dollars and bring them back here? So those tax credits are going from 100% and then they're being phased down, right? So one of the reasons that we said it was prime time to grab them is because there's still 60% of those protection tax credits that we can bring back and pay down the cost of these projects. So if companies or developments are in a different place of their development, the economics aren't there, right? You can't build something if it's not economically sound, and that's where some of these production facilities are affected.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, well, we will give you a little bit of time back, and we're looking forward to continuing to have conversations with our development community, our design firms, our community leaders on the next generation of cities and what things are coming as part of the visioning process that we're working toward in economic development. So look for opportunities there moving forward. If you have any questions following this, we'll be able to push this video out to those that couldn't make it here in person and be able to memorialize today. But again, thanks for being here. It's great to see people. Have a great rest of your day.